Okay, class. So the maraca was fairly simple, mostly review for you. Now we're going to put our skills to the test with making a ocarina, or a clay whistle. This one's a little bit more complicated, so I recommend following along with the handout and diagrams that I've provided you as well. You're going to start fairly much the same as the maraca with 2 balls of clay, and then you're also going to need to set aside a small little chunk of clay for the mouthpiece. Just like with the maraca, we're going to start by making 2 pinch pots. Again, we're trying to get even thickness in walls. That will make making the whistle part a little bit easier if everything is the same thickness. Okay, so I've made a sphere the same way I made a sphere for the maraca. This time now, I'm going to make one side kind of flat. So I'm just kind of pressing it against my bat. And I have this flat side now to my ocarina. And I'm going to take this little chunk of clay that I have here, and I'm going to make a kind of like a square or rectangular shape just by molding it with my fingers. You can use your bat to make flat sides. And the mouthpiece isn't a necessary part of your ocarina, just makes it kind of nice because this is where you'll blow into it. But it doesn't have to be there for the whistle to function. So now what I'm going to do is I want this flat side to line up with the one flat side of the mouthpiece. So I'm going to place that there. I'm going to make a couple little marks around there so I know where to score. And I'm going to attach that mouthpiece on the side. Okay, and I'm going to press this against the tabletop because I want to make sure that that side is all flush, that this mouthpiece is straight and that lines up with the straight side of the whistle. Okay, so all of that is level. Okay, and I can smooth that line in if I want, or I can leave a distinct line. It's up to you. Now I'm going to need this special tool, the popsicle stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this popsicle stick in right through the center of the mouthpiece. I'm hoping that it's going to slide right underneath the thickness of this wall into that hollow cavity inside the whistle. I'm going to put it straight in there like that. I'm not going to wiggle it too much at all, just straight in. Then what I'm going to do is right after the mouthpiece ends, and then I imagine that the wall is about 1/4 of an inch thick, and then right here I'm going to make a small hole. I would say smaller than a dime at first, just a little tiny hole, and I'm going to scoop out that clay. Okay, I should be able to see the popsicle stick right underneath where I put that hole. Now you don't want to fuss too much with the whistle as far as like making it look pretty inside that hole. Don't worry about that. The more you fuss with this, the less likely it is to work. So now what I'm going to do is take my fingertip on the side that's opposite the mouthpiece, and I'm going to make that go in at an angle. Right now the walls are going straight down to the popsicle stick, but this back one is going to go at an angle. So I use my pinky, kind of press down that clay and just kind of run it up the side here so that makes a 45-degree angle. Getting this angle right is the key to making the whistle sound. So what's going to happen? Imagine the popsicle stick is your breath. You're blowing it in through this passageway, and then it's going to be cut by this little sharp edge and flow out of the whistle and make the sound. So now that I have that angle tried out there, I'm going to slowly pull the stick out, trying not to wiggle it. I want to keep that passageway as straight as possible. Okay, and again, I can see some little crusty bits in there. I really want to smooth them out, but I'm not going to touch the inside. And I'll try to see if it will work. It didn't work the first time. That's not uncommon. So I'm going to put my popsicle stick back in, and I'm going to try again. And all I'm going to do is just kind of see if I can make things a little straighter, a slightly different angle. And I'm just going to do trial and error until I get my whistle to make a sound. Okay, my second attempt, I'm going to pull the stick out. And it made a sound. Now, you can change the pitch of these by putting in more holes on the top side or even on the bottom sides or sides of the ocarina. It's up to you. But I have found that the more holes you put in, the more difficult it is to maintain that sound. So I would say put in a few holes at your own risk. Sometimes it does affect the sound to where it won't work. Once you have your whistle sound made, don't touch the mouthpiece or the opening at all. Even if it looks like it's crusty and needs to be cleaned up, just resist the urge. It can stay crusty in there and you can make the outside beautiful in any shape you'd like. What we're going to do for this to practice another technique is I'd like for you to take your needle tool and make some carvings on here. So you can decide whatever it is you'd like to carve. It could just be a design, or you can make your ocarina look like something, but you're just going to use that needle tool and carve some fine lines. Don't worry right now if you see these little crusty parts. We're going to take care of those when the clay is drier. I'm just making kind of a random design right now. Whatever you'd like to do for your design is fine. But this is the type of line work that we call mishima, and this is the first step. First step is just to carve the lines into the wet clay. So make whatever design you'd like, and then we'll let this dry.